So I get to do the blast, right?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Okay. So Reggie already knows what you guys are all going to say. All right. Reggie already knows. He hears you via the TE. He knows that you're all going to troll him and tell him that like he's using too much OP lingo. So he's already done a curated playlist, right? And he puts it in the description for you just in case, right?
Yep.
And this Binyamin has interviews on other channels. So if you want to hear type talk and go in all the parts, just type in Binyamin and look up Kendrick, right? That's how you say it, right? With the heavy, right? And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments because Reggie answers all of his comments, right?
Yep.
All your comments. What else you got? He's got some crazy ass hands that apparently he's boasting about that you can catch at some point. Yeah. Because he's playing shirtless Sephiroth, which is his favorite Smash character.
There you go.
Yeah. So he's also got information there. What else do we have? I don't know. What else do you have?
Oh yeah, you can pay me on Snug.
Oh, you got a Snug now. I didn't know that. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a new one. Yeah.
That's a good one. What else do we got to blast about?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Damn.
Yeah. I've been shortening it. I'm trying to shorten it these days, you know?
All right.
But really appreciate it. That's our episode, guys.
There we go. Done.
Yeah, there we go. No, joking. So joining me today is Binyamin. Really appreciate that, Binyamin's. So technically, I don't even need to blast at the end. Binyamin covered it.
Yeah.
So
one more thing though. If you want timestamps, be sure to watch this video. It's your guys' fault if there's no timestamps because you're not watching enough. So watch the videos the most that you want timestamps. There you go.
There you go. It's hilarious because my SI gave up on that. Timestamps are just too hard.
Oh, okay.
It's so draining. But
if you want,
yes.
like I can do the timestamps on this video and I'll send them to you. All good.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why not?
If you're serious, I'll take them.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. So there you go. So the blast is done. All right. So hey, that was pretty good. So you've been tracking my pronunciation. That's so funny.
Yeah. I noticed that with like Demon Sensory, especially Demon SI, where like they overemphasize certain words.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've not noticed that in myself. Well, I mean, I kind of knew that, but like I didn't know other people knew. Let's put it that way. That's so funny. Yeah. All right. So guys, Binyamin is here. He did the blast, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's go into the first impressions. All right. These are going to be spicy.
These
are spicy.
I'm supposed to be practicing my FE. I can't really give you an honest first impression.
Yes, you can.
You were awesome.
You're such a As is tradition,
right?
We're gonna give honest first impressions. Okay.
Honest first impressions.
Yes.
Okay, so my honest first impression was like, what is this train wreck, and what is the tribe tidal wave that's gonna come against this guy? Because like, I just didn't know how you were getting away with this. How are you getting away with behaving like this and like not having any throwback, not getting kicked out of groups? Like, I was just fascinated because for me, it's like I would never dare like behave like this. Yeah.
You have to.
You're unmuted.
Can you hear me now? There's a dog in there.
Yeah.
You have to give us SI. What are you talking about?
We'll give you the SI. Yeah. So like, okay, so I first met you on the Discord, right?
Yeah.
Back then, and my first time I saw you was you were talking with Ikram, and you accused her of like ruining the vibe. Which, if anyone knows who Ikram is, she's like she's just vibe. She's just good vibes.
So
and you're like, yeah, and you made her cry like the day before, and she like came to me. She's like, "Did I really ruin the vibe?" I was like, "No, you're good. Like Reggie ruined the vibe by saying that." Yeah.
God, I feel terrible. I'm probably gonna have to like text her later and just apologize again. I feel so terrible that I did that.
Yeah.
But yes, I did do that.
And then
you have anything else?
Yeah, I got. Well, it's okay. I'll be nice. We'll be good.
No, what the fuck?
So
this is my show.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Fine. So like there was a bunch of TIs talking, and then you jump in the Discord, and you're just like, "Oh, if you guys are going to be all doing talking TI shit, I'm leaving." And we're just like, "All right," and
Did
so
I
you left.
say that?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my god, I don't even remember that one.
yeah.
Oh my god, who is this
Yeah.
guy? I don't remember this
like
guy.
that's what I was wondering. I was like, how is this guy not like being hated by everybody? What's going on here? He's an observer. He must be able to bounce back, and you did. You bounced back. People like you now. I don't know how you did it. Good job.
I think so. Okay, so this is actually a good. This is a good. I think I'll mention it, and then we'll revisit it during the OP section because I think there is an OP explanation of it.
Right.
I think how I get away with it, so to speak, is I do a lot of stuff on the back end. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the FE on the front end is fucked up. I can't even deny that. But like on the back end, it's like I'm doing a lot of, hey, you know, really sorry, hey, you know, like, and like appreciate, like I will do all that. So it's like you're waiting.
Okay.
It's like it's like back end FE, if that makes sense. So it's like being balanced behind the scenes.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And like I was also really confused because you had some close friends and a lot of people, you were in their FI, they were in your FI, and I'm like, I just didn't get it. Like I just wanted to figure out, what is this Regi guy doing? What is this weirdness?
Yeah. I'm an anomaly. That's so funny. Okay, my first impression. I wrote it down. I don't think it was actually bad. I think I actually, that's what's funny about it. I think you were super ST. Right.
Okay.
Like, and this is actually going, like, I think I called you out on that on when we did the interview on your channel. Remember that?
Sure. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, because I was like, yeah, it's like you have a reputation for ST. Just, hey, I don't know what you mean by that. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go.
Oh really? Yeah. I got that like that weird Tom. What's his name? Lewis Howes thing where it's like, explain yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I said that, like I said that on your interview, and you did, apparently, like someone had to tell me later. It's like, Regi, like you hurt his fucking feelings. I was like, oh my god, I'm sorry. You know, so
I don't have feelings. I'm a thinker. Come on.
Oh yeah, my bad. I forgot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, pure mechanics.
Thinkers have feelings, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's be ST clear. But yeah, so at the time, I think that was my first impression, and then also like, no, I think that was the impression I had of you. Because I was like, and I just didn't know how to navigate that. I was like, okay, like, you know, he's super ST, and it's like I'm not super sciencey, so I guess this is an L. Like I've lost this one, you know. It's like I'm just not gonna try.
I mean, I have some good impressions of you, like not first impressions, but like later on, like no, it was really good because like you. First of all, I don't think your TI is that bad, like, especially when you're talking to other TIs. Like you're able to follow us just fine and go into the logic if you want, which is nice. Like even though you complain and like I don't want to have a TI conversation, when you actually want to, you have one. It's fine. It works out for you. Yeah. And the other thing is like I appreciate you sort of being able to stand up for your quadra a little bit because your quadra is pretty misunderstood. And like, I always really appreciated you coming in like, hey guys, let me just straighten something out. You guys have this wrong. And it's just really good. Like that's the most important thing, is just to get the right feedback. Cause I could speculate about other people all the time. And that's something I want to talk about too, is like, don't give advice to other quadra that would work for you or your quadra. Like don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like, don't take advice from other quadra too seriously, because it's, I don't know. They can't understand your functions. They can think they do, and they can get to some idea of it. But I think
we've had conversations about this. So yeah, we'll bring this back. So and yeah, so just to balance it out, like I think one thing, I mean, because we're like working together now, and we'll talk about that. Like, or I mean, I guess I'm working for you now. What how's this?
No, we're working together. No, it's not. Okay. No. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so basically it's like, you know, I'm a part of one of his typing teams. And I think your your FE shines in those contexts specifically, because it's like you will make a concerted effort to be like, look, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking the time out. Please make sure, you know, whoever's coming in trying to get typed, it's like, you know, treat them with courtesy. And like that, you know, for various reasons, it's like that has been a huge FI value of mine. And so to see you prioritize that and in an FE way, because you're managing multiple teams, I think that's been really cool to see. I'm like, okay, this is really, I think that's part of the reason why I stayed. Because like initially, as you saw in my manifesto, I was like, yo, fuck typing. But it's like for you genuinely want to help people, and I think that's important. So there you go. There's the
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Good feeling, good vibes, good vibes. Good for you. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so let's get into the OP shit. All right. There's some. So how do you want to do this? Because you clearly just have some hot takes about like OP in terms of quadras and stuff like that. There's you. Like, I feel like you've done enough interviews where you've talked about yourself. Let's start with the hot takes. Let's keep it spicy.
Okay, keep it spicy. All right.
Yeah.
So
sorry. So let me set it up. What you were just saying about, hey, because we've had conversations about this, and you know why, right?
Right.
You're like, hey, if some quadra is talking about a certain function that they don't have, it's like, should you really listen to them? Now, I'm not sure how much in the sensory you want to get into this. So,
no, I don't want to get into too much sensory and call anyone out about advice. But like, there's some pieces of advice that keep coming back that I just know is bad for NESI, and then but it's really good for NISE. Like, this is the exact advice I would give to someone else. But it's like I have enough of a respect and understanding of how NESI works that I wouldn't go and do that. You know what I mean? And I understand the philosophy behind it. So let's give a little bit of let me just say what the advice is. So like for NISE, in order to calibrate itself, like it's looking at some kind of trajectory in the future. And in order to calibrate itself, it needs to go, okay, what's the worst possible trajectory? And it's thinking for me, like worst, what does worst mean? It doesn't mean worst for the whole world. Worst is like, what's worst for me? Like, that's what I'm thinking. That's what we're thinking about. And I mean, we could be selfless and use our DE or whatever, but I mean, like, that's the general idea. So we'll look at the worst, and then we'll look at the best possibility, like what we're actually going to try to push for and aim for, right? So it's kind of like the borders, like, don't go into the gutter lanes and try to get the strike in the middle, sort of thing, when you're bowling, right? Right. And so that's kind of how like NISE will navigate that sort of trajectory. But I mean, like for NE, since it's seeing the whole spectrum of possibilities, like there's a lot of worst. If you tell it, hey, just think about what's the worst that can happen. Like, that's basically the question. What's the worst that can happen? Just go for it. And then NE's like, what do you mean? What's the worst that can happen? You asked me a loaded question here. And so NE's going to go through all of the worst possibilities and get stuck.
Yep.
Because that's what the SI says. The SI says, look at the worst. Okay. Blum, 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 blum. And then they'll just get stuck in this loop, and it's just not helpful. It's not productive. And the other thing is, if NE is focusing on what's bad and the worst, it'll cause it to happen. You'll manifest it. That's the way I've seen NE work. It's like they have to focus on the best possibilities in order to manifest them. But I don't know if you resonate with that. I'm recalibrating to that because it's been a while since we had that last conversation. Right.
I definitely agree. Like, so for example, I actually thank you for clarifying that, because I think when we first talked about it, I misunderstood legitimately.
Right.
So based on what I'm hearing now, that's not good advice, because where my mind went is, what's the worst that can happen? I immediately thought of like a child massacre.
Right.
That's where my mind went.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I possibly prepare for this? Right. Now, to some degree, like, to be fair, to double decide a little bit, there's to some degree that is useful information, right? Okay, maybe you need to have some security systems in place, right? Maybe you need to have some escape plan, something like that. So that's where my NE and SI, if they start calibrating, working together, I feel like, or at least my NE, that's where it's healthy. But the problem with the advice you gave, or not you, but the advice that you were relaying, is that if you just say, think about the worst that can happen, it's like,
right.
I can go worse than what I just thought about.
Yeah,
sure.
Obviously. Yeah. And basically what NE should do is have an accurate representation of the spectrum. It shouldn't overemphasize things that couldn't happen. Like, okay, this child massacre thing, that's one of the things on the spectrum, but it's got such a small probability, you're probably just going to dismiss it. Yeah. And that's what NE is good at. And NE doesn't need to start like messing around with that spectrum and the likelihoods and focusing on, like, that's just not productive, I think.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not NE. That's my advice. Yeah.
Exactly. So okay. So now I'm tracking what you're saying. So to tell someone to save your SI, hey, that's your growth path. That's a disaster. That's like a panic attack waiting to happen.
Whoa, yeah. Save your SI with Demon Any, that's a panic attack because they're already having a problem seeing the whole spectrum, and you're getting them to look at just one possibility on that spectrum that's horrible. It's going to ruin their life.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess so this actually, so Pete, watch the transition, Binyamin. You ready? This is interesting because I think this helps me explain why with your typing groups, you're very keen on having people from different quadrants.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like how did you come up with that?
So I came up with it differently, but I've sort of, filled in the reasons since. So I've got probably better paths to get there. So the best path I have to get there right now is just on the, this isn't the original reason, but like Dave and Chen basically have completely opposite types. Completely opposite. Every single coin is reversed, right?
Okay.
And I don't think that was, it's a coincidence, but it's one of the key components that let OP get revealed to them, right? That let all of the coins get revealed to them. Because what's happening when they're typing someone is if Shen is pulling, Dave had better be pushing. If Dave is pushing, Shen had better be pulling. So let's say we're thinking about one coin at a time, right? So we're thinking gather versus organize. So if Dave is pushing to gather and Shen is pulling towards gather, then the person's probably a gather, right? And so that's how they can triangulate off of each other on each coin.
So sorry. So before you continue, when you say push and what do you mean by that? Push and pull?
Like Dave is saying, if he's pulling, he's saying it's like me, or if he's pushing, he's saying it's not like me. It's like
Got
me.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, good ST clarification there. Thanks.
Yep.
Just to call you back out on the Lewis House. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the idea is basically if they're typing together, they can get the person right by pushing or pulling the person on each one of the coins, right?
Right.
So the idea as well is what I'm keen on doing is having someone from each quadra and someone from each human need, so that because we're only seeing 1/8 of the board, or something like that, and we're a quarter of the board or whatever, and we're seeing a part of the universe that our functions are designed to receive.
Okay.
And I can't trust myself to be able to type somebody else on my own because I'm only seeing part of them. I'm only interpreting them through my own functions, and I'm projecting onto them and all that kind of stuff. And so if I have someone else to triangulate off of, then that's going to help me see reality better, because now I know I'm half of the picture. And if we have 4 people in the team, all spread out perfectly, like 4 corners on a map, we can say, okay, where are they on the map between us? And we can sort of pinging off each other and figure it out. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, let's talk about this for a few minutes, because I'm on one of these teams, right? My team, hopefully I'm not being too braggadocious or whatever the word is. I think my team's the most interesting because it's truly every human need, the observers, deciders are balanced. It's
just the masculine and feminine with you guys aren't balanced. The masculine.
Well, that's the only thing. But we all have masculine DI, for example. So it's
right.
That's noticeable. Right?
Is it, eh? Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. We're clashing a little bit. But it's been a fascinating experience for me because I don't think I've never been in a dynamic that was so explicitly I can see where I could see myself to use your language, pull towards not even people in that we're typing, pull towards other people's opinions in the group, right? So for example, sometimes I'll pull towards the person with OE because I can see, I'm OE, I want that. Or I can pull towards the FI, the person in the group, because it's oh yeah, I see that. And so I'm seeing myself being pulled and pushed in all these different ways consciously. And I think initially it caused a lot of I wouldn't say too much. There was tension for sure, but it's there was just this we didn't get each other. And I think now, like, since we've brought that up to the surface, I think we're working together really well, which I appreciate.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. Yeah.
But it's like now when we're typing, it's like you said, it's like these pulling and these pushing. It's like we never use that language, but it's like I think we're more conscious of that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. In your team, how's that for you? Because I think yours is all thinkers, right?
Yeah, we have an imbalance for thinkers, so it's kind of hard for us to get the feeling. But
Okay.
we've got two people who are double deciding, so they've got feeling pretty high up at least.
Yeah.
We have I don't want to call people out, but we have a guy with like an NEFE sort of thing, and he's starting to step up a little bit more and calling out vibes for us because that's something that's really important.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
So we're getting vibes from him. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I feel like I'm learning more about type and about how to type people from my team than I ever would from interviewing or classes or anything like that, because you have like people with those functions with you to triangulate off of. And I'm just learning their perspective. And it's such a, I don't know, such an eye-opening experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, really good. So watch the transition, okay? You ready?
All right.
We're channel changing.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, now let's transition more like OP, like processing your type.
Yeah.
So within the framework of pushing and pulling, based on my notes, it seems like you're still having a push and pull relationship with your own type right now, even. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so like when I got my type back, the hardest thing for me was to see the sleep last.
Okay.
I thought I would sleep first. And I would have accepted any other function. I would have even accepted consume last. I would have accepted it. But sleep last was just such it's just something that I still can't see. It's like, am I being honest with myself? Am I being dishonest with myself? Like I'm trying to be honest, right? But it's just not something that I can see. Is the sleep last. Because like I just see my sleep so much. Yeah.
And when you say you see your sleep, like what do you mean?
I mean, I'm just really conscious of it, and I'm doing it often.
Okay,
a lot.
So, so when like, gotta help me with the sensor.
Yeah. I mean, anytime anything bad happens to me in my life or something like that, I won't go extrovertedly. I'll go introvertedly. Like I'll cave in and I'll like go and process it. Like that's my go-to place. I don't know. I'm just super aware of like when I'm building up ideas and theories and things like this. I'm just really aware of how that works and how to do it, and where the pieces go, how they fit. So, I mean, to be honest, I have a lot harder of a time with everything else than sleep, which is weird. So I don't know if you relate to that as well as being sleep last.
That's a good question. So I'm trying not to bullshit you.
Right.
I definitely remember when I first got my type back. It's funny because I was peacocking because I wanted to be sleep last. So when I got it, I thought I gamed the system. Like I wanted to be play blast consume, and they typed me as play blast consume. I was like, okay, yeah, I got what I wanted.
Right.
But once I started taking OP more seriously, I think it was actually a year later, that's where I was like, well, no, but like I'm journaling a lot. I'm going on long walks all the time. I'm taking naps all the time. Like I'm confused. Like where's the sleep last then? Right. So I think now, just because I'm such a public person, like I've been called the fuck out enough times. For lack of words, like I've just been called out enough to where people have been like, Reggie, that's sleep last. Reggie, also that's sleep last. Reggie, I'm not your therapist. I'm like, okay, fine.
Right.
You know? So I think now I can see it. But I think what I am seeing is different than what I assumed sleep last was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still trying to see myself through the OP lens in that way. And I get close, but then there's just something that just contradicts all the time. Like I guess that's the TI. It's just like, no, this is contradicting. Like it's contradicting, and I just can't resolve it. I guess I'm having trouble sleeping on the sleep last.
Interesting. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about like, so I mean, let's process this a little bit, right? Because that's kind of the bulk of the notes I have before we do the compare and contrast and the questions, right?
Right.
So one, it's like you're like, okay, behaviorally, like, well, how am I not doing sleep? Right. So one example was your YouTube channel especially with like some of the more recent theories that you've been coming out with, right? I think the suffering is my personal favorite one, the theory of suffering, or the model of suffering. I don't know how you worded it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty thorough, you know?
Yeah.
And so that, and yeah, I think you mentioned to me even when we we're taking the notes, you're like, hey, this is an example of when I do sleep. So I guess my first question is like, how, like, what's the length of time that you're doing that type of stuff?
Oh, wow. Like, I mean, like, so I've got stuff that I'm working on that's been 15 years. Just put it that way. Or like 20 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Where it's like, yeah, because it's stacking. So, you know, there's no end to the sleep you can do on things. You can stack and eliminate and narrow down and build more. And
yeah.
So, I mean, like, the suffering one was fairly new idea, but I have other ones that are older ideas, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So I hear that. It's like, okay, this is, I guess we made it into a sleep processing session. Congrats.
Yeah.
We did it. Okay. So, I hear that and I'm like, okay, there's one of two options. Either like maybe you're legitimately typed wrong, right? Or and this one I quite frankly think is more likely. It's like I just don't understand what they mean by sleep fully yet. Right. Because I like for me, it's like, okay, I can hear that and be like, okay, well, why isn't that TI?
Yeah. That's actually one of the things Dave said to me. He's like, oh, that sounds just like TI.
Okay.
Sure.
So let me ask you from your vantage point, from your experience, how do you parse out TI and NI then?
I mean, I have a hard time parsing them, to be honest. But yeah, like, NI is trying to reduce things to their lowest component, to the trying to get to like a single understanding that links everything together, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And TI is trying to resolve contradictions.
TI is trying to resolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's trying to create together they do create a worldview, right? Yeah, they're trying to create a worldview together that, you know, that works in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you were able to program a robot perfectly, you would never have to program him again. He would just work in the world, and you would never have to touch his code ever again, right?
Okay.
And so that's kind of what like I'm trying to do. I'm like trying to fix my code so that like I don't make any more mistakes in the real world.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like that's kind of how I see the two working together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you're parsing it out. So NI is about narrowing things down to the simplest version of the idea, or the most bare bones version of an idea.
Yeah.
And TI is about resolving contradictions. Okay.
It's like the simplest idea that applies to the widest range of things.
Understood. So here's my question for you, right? And this is a self-report. I get it. But so let me set it up. In OP, people can be good at their saviors, good at their demons. It's not about the utility of it.
That's
right. That's like one of their key phrases. Everybody can do everything, right? So I can hear this and I'm trying to challenge my bias of like, look, you could be double activated SC and still be exceptional at NI. Like I can't say that. Like I can't use that as but what I'm trying to process is, do you lean on your NI even without SE? So I guess, can you talk about that when you're in a situation, let's say there's a problem, right, that arises, right? Chaos, whatever. Do you rely on your ideas like exclusively, right? Like, let's say there's no sensory proof, there's no way to fact check it.
Right. So they're feminine, right? Like my NI is feminine.
Okay.
So it feels like I do come to some realizations and then I have to write them down. I have to put them in the sensory somehow. Otherwise they're just lost to the ether. Yeah. And it's a shame because like I do have some really amazing ideas and realizations and things like this that are just gone because I've never written them down or whatever. And like, so like, I think in a conversation or in a situation or whatever, my NI will work and I will lean on it because I'm doing the double observing too. So it's hard to tell.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'll lean on either one. I don't care. Like I'm trying to make them both align. I'm trying to make the SE and the NI match. And when they're matched, then I'm like, full force.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna deep dive on this sleep conversation
Right.
then. And just so you guys are watching, I forgot to say this in the FI and in the SI. Around the 55-minute mark, we're gonna switch to Q&A. So
I forgot to say it. It was my blast.
Yeah. Oh, I apologize. Around 55 minutes, we're gonna switch. So you guys have questions for Binyamin, I would recommend start, thinking about them or putting them in the chat. Okay, guys. Okay. So that doesn't okay. So I can't fact check off of that, right? If that's not what NiTi sleep is, then okay, then I have to eliminate that.
Right.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this. When you talk to people who are NiTi sleep, like Uzair or whoever, what's that experience like for you?
I mean, I love it. I don't know.
You love it. Okay.
Yeah.
This is hard. I don't know what I don't know how to fact check this.
And then like the other thing is like I would never put out a video, like I would never blast anything if I haven't completely processed it like down to the bottom bones. Okay. And I don't know if that's just TI, but like it's like look at my YouTube channel. All of the videos I put out, it's not just like, hey, let's just, blast play this. That's not what I'm like, and most of it isn't even consumed stuff. Most of it's not stuff that I've even consumed. Most of it is just stuff that I've created myself and figured out myself.
Yes,
it's like, there's consume in there, but
yeah. Okay, so now I'm trying to take a step back because so I have to confess, I don't think I've told you this, Binyamin. Like I have recently FI valued OP tracking people more. I don't think I've told you this. I think I need to update my manifesto accordingly because I've realized that in order for me to create, so one of my FI values ends up being deep relationships. And so in order to develop deep relationships, I need to know what's going on from the inside out so that I don't accidentally trigger them, so that I can help them when they're low and stuff like that. And so OP is huge for that. My problem now that I have this value is I literally can't track people. Like even when I'm on a team, it's like sleep last. So basically what you're processing is okay, well, I'm fitting all the anecdotes of sleep. How am I sleep last?
Yeah.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, the only way or I don't know if it was Dave and Shan, but I think Dave specifically, when we talked, you're like, oh, well, you seem to do consume, play, and blast. So sleep is just the odd one out.
Yeah.
But
that was their explanation to me. I mean, that was Dave's explanation to me. I don't know how accurate that is or.
Yeah, but how, exactly. For me, how would I track that? That's where it's like, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying it's like I don't know how to track sleep last.
Well, the thing is, they're not claiming to be infallible, and they're going to make mistakes all the time. I'm not saying they made a mistake with me, but I'm just saying like they can't afford to spend a week with somebody to type them. It's just not viable. So like they're like, okay, I see this. Well, this must be the last one. Done. Right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's table that because it's like, I think we're stuck, but I think that's important. I do want to talk about something that I think is super important about your type, and that is the lead TI. Right? There's the way you described it to me. It was painful to listen to, if I'm being honest with you. My FI was hurt.
Yeah, it was the lack of FI that was hurting you. Yeah.
No, what you went through was hurting.
Oh. Okay.
So for example, I mean, I'll cue you up and maybe you remember.
Sure.
You were saying, because I was asking, how would I be able to know your lead TI? I think is how I framed it. And you were like, the way you know your decider is like you said the tribe kept casting me out over and over again throughout your life.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, that's how I personally knew I was TI. I'm not saying that's how everyone would know.
I apologize.
Yeah. So for my personal self, I was getting kicked out of tribe after tribe after tribe. Yeah. 100%. A little story on that. So like in my high school, I don't know. I was on. I went to this new high school. Didn't know anybody. I was on the bus on the way there. It was like this cute girl that was like, "Hey, you can come sit with us at our table." And I didn't know anything about what their group was like or whatever. And apparently it's like this group. They were together since like kindergarten or whatever. So like I joined their little posse or whatever, their little clique, because I don't know why. She invited me. And then I was like talking to other people and they didn't like that. They're like, "Oh, we don't talk to him." I was like, "Okay, well I do." Right. And then I got kicked out basically. But then like, so I didn't really have any friends or whatever. And I was sitting at my own table And then like eventually like other outcasts started like coming and sitting with me at lunch or whatever. And like by the time I graduated, we had like the biggest table. It was the most fun. And then they started all turning into elitists and like kicking people out. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like, that's not my philosophy. Like, what the hell? Yeah. So it was kind of funny.
That's a funny one. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Once you're top dog, yeah, that's what you want to do. I don't know how much you want to go into the censor on this, because some of these notes, you know, I don't know if you have the doc in front of you, but like you were telling me about, let me make it vague and then you could decide how much you want to go into it.
No, we can go into it. I'm all good. Yeah.
Okay. So like you were talking about, like, for example, in childhood, like, you know, there were like gangs and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to go into that. Like your experience with like gangs of kids.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. I've got my typing video and stuff too and stuff. But yeah, sure. I was just triggering people all the time, constantly. But that's basically like where I came out with my it's basically what pushed me into like personal growth is like it's got to be me, right? It's got to be something like no other kid this isn't happening to anyone else. It's got to be me.
Yeah.
I've got to be doing something. I don't know what it is. I can't track their feelings. I don't know anything, right? So I read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it sort of like clued me in that other people have FIs. So like, yeah, try to like make sure you don't like get them. Well, you know what it's like to have FI, right? So it's like you can like hate somebody and then that's there forever.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So that's kind of what pointed me to that direction. And then I sort of came up with an idea about that we're all struggling to, you know, pass on our seed and become like the top dog, like you were saying. And so like, and basically what I was doing was I was unknowingly challenging people and telling them that I'm above them, sort of thing. And so like, right. And so when you do that, they're like, oh, you think you're above me. So now we'll fight it out. We'll duke it out because I want to be the top dog. And so I was challenging people in that way constantly without knowing it. And I think that's what was really causing those tidal waves. It was just a lack of the NF. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how have you been working on that? Like, and like, the only reason I asked this is like, hopefully the only reason I asked this is like, I genuinely, like, as we were talking about, I'm like, there may be some people who may need to hear this, you know?
Yeah.
So like, how did you get out of, because you're a vibey dude now to me.
Thanks.
You know?
Sure. So this is like, I don't want to get too dark on everything, but like, so also I was having a lot of trouble with my ex-marriage sort of thing, where it's like, she knew where to hurt me. She knew to like spread lies about me. She knew to like get the tribe to hate me. And it happened over and over again where like, she was the tribe person in the relationship. She was keeping the relationships and she was able to sort of like turn the tribe against me constantly. And it was just like over and over again. So like that for me was a big challenge. Like, how do I take over the tribe spot from her? How do I interact with people that she's friends with? And how do I compete with her? Like, I have to actually compete with her in order to like not get people to hate me because she's like, I don't know what was going on there. Yeah. So like I failed. I completely failed. And you know, marriage over, all of her friends hate me. Like just huge explosion there where like, yeah, I'm still suffering the loss of that, where it's like, I just had no chance to win the tribe game there. But I did learn a lot there, like struggling to compete with her at least. I did learn, I think, a lot on how to be a bit more tribe oriented, you know? Yeah. And a lot of it is on the front end, just not TIing. Just don't TI. Just on the front end, just give good vibes, make other people feel important, be interested in them, care for them. And I was doing that. It just wasn't working. It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. I'm sure there are people in my life who I feel like are maybe either your type or similar types, or it's like would look right past them, or like right past that struggle. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Like I feel bad because it's like, because like I've been on the other, like I've been on both sides, sure, but like I've definitely been on the side of like the tribe looking at this person like, why are they like this, and like ousting them, right? But it's like, yeah, it's like you have no clue. Kind of sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, where are you at these? I mean, you're giving the vibes, I feel like, at least you're giving the vibe.
Okay.
When it comes to the actual decider side of things, like the decider side of TI, like I think you mentioned like you still experience that. Like, what is your experience like with decider stuff now?
It's still the most scary thing. It's still the most painful thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, like a lot has gotten better since I'm just meeting so many people constantly because of the channel and stuff. And it's just like, I'm less intimidated by the tribe and by people today. So like that really helps. But like the decider thing, my automatic default response is TI. And that's not what, like, I don't know when to use FE and when to use TI. Like I got to know when to use what.
Right.
And so if my default is always FE, then I get trampled on the TI, and that doesn't work. If my default is TI, well, then I'll get ousted, or I'll get hate or whatever, right? So like that's the hardest thing to navigate, is like, when do you pick what? When do you choose what? Right?
Have you figured that out yet?
Well, I mean, my current strategy while I'm figuring it out is just do FE on the front end.
On the front end,
just do FE on the front end, and then the voids in your life are going to be TI voids, and those I can handle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart. I'm thinking about, do I want to do SiFi, fill the voids at the front end? Oh hell no. I'm still resisting it,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do it. Like FI maybe, but the SI one, fuck you. I'm going over here. Like,
well, I mean, like you are kind of doing that, like with your notes that you have, your SI notes on each guest. So it's like that's just like you're doing the SI on the front end, and now you can just NE with your guest. Like,
right.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I guess that is a good point. Cause like, yeah, that's exactly why I do it. Cause like, I don't want to like, anyway, we don't have to get into that. I just don't want to sit here and be like, well, what are we going to talk about? Like that's
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't do the SI first like you do. I don't have that, and so that's me during the whole interview. It's like, okay, what are we going to talk about?
Isn't it torture? Let's channel change to that for 2 seconds. Like when you're interviewing people, like I'm shocked that you do that. Like, it's like, how are you navigating these interviews then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so here's part of the thing too, is like at the beginning, I wanted to practice play more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I didn't think I had play savior. And so for me, practicing play is not being prepared.
Right.
Because like I could have easily prepared, right? But that would defeat the purpose. That would completely defeat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're double activated play now. So how are you how have you been processing this?
I don't know. I'm still the same person, and I still feel like I need to invest time in play and work on play. So
right, okay. Fair enough. All right. Let's do one more topic, and then we'll do Q&A in about 10 minutes. Let's talk about the FI. Apparently, everyone with TI are still confused. All right, talk to me. What's going on? Why are you confused by FI?
Oh, why am I confused about FI?
Yes.
I mean, like so one of the things that's hard about it is like how I don't know, it seems like a very subjective function. Like very subjective. Like you're judging vibes based on how people make you feel. Yeah. You're judging relationships based on how you feel in the relationship.
That's correct.
Yeah. So like if someone's giving you good vibes and you have like your FI is happy, then you're just like a slave to these people. You like them. Done.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like I don't know. It feels like you guys would be the easiest to just manipulate. Just give you guys good vibes.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what Darren Brown does.
Right.
I think I'm remembering that correctly. Like, I think one Q&A, Dave and Shan, or Dave specifically said, like, Darren Brown specifically targets people with Savior FI.
Oh,
they,
really?
like,
I didn't know that. Okay.
It was in one Q&A. I remember it distinctly because he was like, especially because Savior FI people don't think they can be manipulated. They're like, oh no, I like what I like.
Right. They think it's them.
Darren Brown just fucks with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's kind of confusing is like, how is that identity? How is
Okay.
how is what you like your identity? How is that you?
Well, I can answer that somewhat with the caveat. It's a demon for me.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That's, a single activated demon as well. So it's like, okay. It's not just about like and dislike. It's about emotional state. Right. So, and this is something that Shan taught me during the interview I had with her.
Oh, by the way, that was one of the best interviews in typology on YouTube. Oh. The one with Shan. That was just crazy. Yeah. Shan's got that alpha FI stuff going on. She knows FI.
Yeah. It was an important one.
And for me, it was like seeing depth. It you could see depth there. Like you're actually talking about something real, It's not just like, hey, the weather.
Yeah. So thank you. So let me break down why is FI identity. So one thing she made me realize about how FI operates at the very least is that its emotions are so pervasive, I guess. Well, like they permeate everything you do. Right? So even if you're trying to make the thing work, let's say I'm trying to make the thing work and I'm pissed at you. You've been in situations like this. Someone's mad at you and they're pretending they're not. And, especially if they're in a social situation, it's like they're trying to make things work, but like, oh, I accidentally broke your thing. And, oh, I accidentally am arguing with you for 5 hours and stuff like that. Everyone's been in there. That is where the FI identity starts sabotaging the external world because the emotional state is so powerful. Right. It can't help but express itself. Let's put it that way.
Right. That's a good word, sabotaging, because I see that. Like FI does self-sabotage a lot in that way.
Mm-hmm. And so how to take responsibility for FI is to take responsibility for that emotional state, because once you get the emotional state you want, it will overflow into your activity. Okay. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, like getting your FI on board, getting motivated, stuff like that. But it's like, how is that your identity? That's the hard. The other thing is like, it's really impressive because like, if somebody has a good character, that's not going to change a lot, like too quickly. If you're like, okay, this guy's a good guy. I mean, if he's FI, it's like, well, okay, yeah, I can trust this guy now forever.
Yeah. Because locks in. Yeah.
It's good character. They've built themselves up to be a person that's worth knowing.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, why is that identity? It's not. Maybe it's because it's demon for me. It's like I don't have a way to answer that. Like I know there are people who are Savior FI who talk about like, oh, because it's your values and you stand by these values and you can always be trusted to be the person in the tribe that will stand by those values. I've heard that. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's like when I'm experiencing FI, it's emotion. So it's like I can't fully relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not that FE doesn't have emotion. We all have. I think we all have the same emotion. It's just how do you process it, right? It's like, how do you process your emotion is by going into it and coming out the other side, like locking yourself up for a week or whatever, going through the emotion, right? How do I process my emotion? Well, I could do the same thing. I could do the FI thing on how to process my emotion or whatever, but it's just not very effective. It doesn't like I won't be able to build anything off of it. It'll just
disappear, right?
Yeah. It's like, not really getting anywhere. I can like clear it out. And like, really what I'm doing in that case is going through the TI, processing that stuff. And then once the TI is all done and I have my cry, then it's done. I'm over. Right.
Right.
Okay. But like, it's a lot easier to process emotion. And I don't do this nearly enough or at all. It's just a lot easier to process emotion. How would you feel in that situation? How would you feel? Like not just asking one person, asking a whole spectrum of people, getting all of their feedback and be like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of off on this.
Right.
Or I feel validated. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone would feel like that. Okay, yeah, I'm validated. Done.
Yeah.
And that's it. Emotions processed.
Yeah, it's alignment, right? Like that's what I do with TE. It's like I have this bullshit idea. Oh wait, but everyone else has it. Sure. It's like sure, whatever. There was one question, and guys, remember we're gonna start our Q&A in a second. There was one question you asked me back then, and I do think we need to bring it up. You mentioned why is FI contradictory to TE? Why can't you do both?
Oh,
Remember that?
Yeah. No, that's like okay. So I'm not sure if you get the same thing with TI-FE, but it's like
Okay.
I get FI, I get what FI is doing on its own. I get what TE is doing on its own, but I don't get why they have to be connected. Why
Contradictory, yeah.
FI? Because like TE is amazing, FI corrupts it, and FI is amazing, TE corrupts it.
But
So,
why?
like, why? Okay, so FI will corrupt TE because FI is gonna have like FI is gonna hate you, so it's gonna come up with a whole bunch of bullshit reasons why you're shit, right? And it's not the TE that like if the I know just go with me on this.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not the TE that's bad because the TE is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's the FI that's biasing it.
No, so it goes both ways though.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So what's your question?
No, so like that's it's not really a question. It's just like that's what's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Okay.
That like TE is great as a function, FI is great as a function, but together they sort of like kill each other.
Right. Okay. Right. It's annoying. It's annoying.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I could trade. I kind of like FI, but sometimes I want to trade because it's like TI and FE seem simpler, just intellectually. Like, okay, you know, while I'm thinking about some deep Elon Musk level problem, don't fucking talk to me about, you know, do I want chocolate or not? Stop. That's a huge anecdote, and that was a huge stereotype.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, don't cancel me. All right, FE. I know FE doesn't just.
Are you hearing the tribe again in your head?
I absolutely am. Yeah.
No one's canceling you. No one cares. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, I think FI and TE, yeah, for some reason when they're together, it's just one sabotaging the other. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? I mean, okay. So I thought you had a question, but now that you don't have a question, like, so where's your conclusion then?
It's just like for me trying to that's the hard part for me to see is to know that they're connected. Like, okay. I don't feel like they should be connected. Like, that's what I feel like. And from my subjective weird perspective. Yeah.
What would the alternative be though?
No, there's no alternative. It's just like my stupid head is saying that to me, you know?
Okay. Like it doesn't make sense that these should be connected. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Look, the moment you can separate them and I can do them at the same time, please let me know that. Okay.
Right.
Appreciate that. So guys, Binyamin's gonna work on it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right.
All right. Let's go ahead and start with the Q&A. Binyamin,
yeah. Well, before we do that, I want to ask you about your channel a little bit.
Sure.
At the beginning, okay, so like you're into like the Gary V thing, right? And you're sort of trying to follow his path on how to like do a channel and the YouTube and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like at the beginning, you were framing yourself as like the Joe Rogan. Are you still doing that?
I think so. It's not like a, how do I word it? It's not like a strong, like I'm not pushing it as hard anymore. Because that was how I was initially pushing it. Right. I do still think I'm doing the Joe Rogan in the sense of like I'm not blasting. It's like it's just like we're talking. That's how I feel like he does his YouTube or his podcast. It's like you're just talking to them.
Right. So like, for me, that really triggered me when you said that. When you're saying Joe Rogan and you want to be, it really triggers my DI, my masculine DI.
Okay.
Because it's like, why would you want to be like anyone else? You're fucking Regi. Just be the best Regi.
Oh, so thank you. Great point. Yeah. All I meant was literally just the framework. Like I don't want to be him.
No, I know. But like even the framework, it's like find your own flow, find your own framework. Like that's what was triggering me. It's like do your own thing.
But I like his. Me doing my own thing is stealing his.
All right. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever. do what you want. I just had to say that. It's like kind of triggering to me.
All right. So for the record, I just won't say it I won't say it anymore for Binyamin's sake, okay? I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, okay? Be Regi. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Regi now.
You have permission. Right. You have TE permission to be Regi.
There you go. Yeah. I have to pull this up. This is hilarious. Right. My own thing is plagiarism. Oh my God. That's funny because it's so true. Okay, guys. Question time. Okay, Binyamin's here for you guys. He's going to practice his FE. Really appreciate you guys showing up. All right. So I think there was a lot of spicy questions for you, Binyamin, I think.
Oh man.
All right, you ready? All right, so let's start. Where is it? Oh, these are spicy comments too. Guys, you can't be saying that. Okay, here we go.
I don't even know what you're looking at.
All right. So here's the first one from Natasha. Hi, Natasha.
Right.
What is the hardest function of OP for you to understand?
Okay, so right away I know, Natasha, you're feminine FI, and so I'm not going to TI your question apart. Yeah. Because like
You're going to.
Damn it. Shut up, Reggie. Yeah. I think SI is a really hard one to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's probably the hardest of all to understand is SI. Because it just seems so simple on the surface, but it's so deep in reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the simplicity and where's the depth?
Like, okay, so the simplicity is just like, okay, it's sensory, you organize it, done, right? Yeah. But then it's like, okay, wait a minute, you guys aren't doing the SE thing. Because you're doing SI and you're not doing SE. And it's like, okay, so then what does that mean? And sensory is personal, and there's depth to it, and there's longevity and eternality to the physical world. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a spiritual element to it as well, that like the world has some kind of meaning in it. Inside the world there's a deeper meaning. And it's like, yeah. Because like for me, the meaning is not in reality. Like the meaning is behind reality, above. But like for SI, it seems like the meaning is in reality. Reality has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Reality has a meaning. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
That like, it's like the things you're building in reality are going to stay forever, and you want to build things that that do stay forever.
Yeah.
You want to build things that won't ever die, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, I want to build ideas that won't ever die. But what is this? Yeah.
Right. We've had a conversation about this. I don't know if you remember this.
Okay.
This was back on on when you were interviewing me on your channel.
Okay.
And you were talking about how like SE, it's like, look, like for all we know, we might not live on this planet anymore. We could have like totally different biochemistry, you know, like for example, if we start getting into like cybernetics, or is that the word? Like sure. You know, having machine parts. Let's put it that way. Like it's like, you know, what we mean by human is going to be different. So it's like, you know, the sensory is going to change, right? But what's going to be eternal across that change was kind of what you were talking about.
Right.
Do you not remember that?
No, yeah, I do kind of remember that. Yeah.
You're a liar.
You're a
liar.
It's like if you download your head into a computer or whatever, and you can cut off the sensory, or you can give yourself a weird sensory, like you can give yourself infrared cameras and like radiation detectors and things like that. So that would be your new sensory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So really good. So for me, the hardest function for me to understand, and real quick, I think I get TI actually. I actually think TI is pretty straightforward. I actually think TI is extremely straightforward. Okay. Like you know, to the point where I'm like, why don't I have it sometimes? But anyway, I think the hardest one is, this is gonna sound weird, I think it's gonna be NE still.
NE.
I think like whether it's like for me to understand, like because like every time I explain it, but then I realize, oh, like I might have to explain it differently. Maybe that's NE right there.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like
it makes sense because also like the extroverted functions aren't seeing themselves as much.
Yeah.
The extroverted functions are focused on things that aren't them. So NE is going to be looking at things that isn't NE, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
It's not going to be focused on NE itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's either NE or NI, but I actually, if I'm being honest, I think it's NE because I just, every time I explain it, it's different. I'm like, what the hell? You know.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Emily. Hi. Binyamin, do you Do you get feeling bogged down by consume? Shan calls it cauldron-y. And what do you do about that?
I mean, so like there was a time where I was checking all of my new videos on YouTube and making sure to watch them all, like everyone I was subscribed to.
Okay.
Until it got to a point where I was just subscribed to too many things where it's just not possible anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to sort of like figure out sort of pseudo FI what's most important for me to watch rather than, yeah. But yeah, I definitely feel like there's not enough time in every day to consume everything that you want, that you need. Like I have to consume, right? But then, yeah. So yeah, I guess bogged down. Yeah, like because you feel I don't want to consume. Like I never really want to consume. I hate consume. I hate reading. I hate. Oh man, another video I got to watch. Oh man, Regi, you're putting out 2 videos a week now. Like, you know what I mean? So like I don't want to do it, but like I feel responsible to do it, and I'll go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just as a follow-up real quick, and then like, do you get that? So when she talks about cauldron-y, I think I saw that video where it's like, it's almost like demon blast. It's like you feel like pent up because you haven't blasted enough. Do you get that feeling of like you're like stuffed with information?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I never have enough information, and I can never blast. Yeah.
Okay. Really good. All right, next. Regina.
Oh, lots of questions. How's it going?
Yeah. Regina, are you saving your notes on us and selling them to the NSA? I cannot confirm or deny that.
Oh, really good.
Okay. There you go. Next. Emily again.
How's it going, Emily?
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Ben, how do we have the same animal stack? What? Are you guys type twins? No. You're type cousin.
I think she's SE Dom, no?
No, she's NE Dom.
Oh, she's NE Dom?
So she's an observer though.
Yeah. And NE.
Okay. Have you let's do it this way. Have you interacted with Emily at all?
I don't think so, but Emily, you should come on my channel. She's been typed. We should do an interview.
There you go.
We'll get to know each other.
All right, there you go.
And we can talk about this as a question. We can answer it together.
There you go. There you go. Problem solved. All right, next. Oh, good question from Heather. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel.
Yeah, she's got a new channel going on.
There's a new channel going on. Like, there you go. Exactly. All right. So Heather, how do you view SiFi sleep versus NiTi sleep? I'm curious on your perspective on this, Binyamin, actually, legitimately.
I don't feel like they're doing the same thing at all. I feel like it's completely like just different.
Okay.
Yeah. SiFi sleep is like, well, I don't have it, but it seems like it's just it seems so simple, and it seems so like, I don't know, it doesn't seem easy. It just seems more simple. Like,
okay,
even those are admittedly the 2 functions I understand the least, but it's like, okay, you're building a worldview based on what you value in the physical world.
Uh-huh.
That's how I'm seeing it. So like,
mm-hmm.
you're constructing an entire worldview around that, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. And NiTi sleep is building a worldview all around what theory, like it's like a big mess.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like the work there is ever done. It feels like it just keeps going forever, and you can keep going forever.
Well, so why is that more? I guess you were saying more complicated than.
Yeah, because it feels like SiFi at some point. So I don't know. Also, she's got SiFi sleep, right? So
yeah.
And I'm probably botching this completely because I don't have those functions. But it just feels like you guys can get to a point where you're done.
I don't think that's true.
No.
I think just what I've noticed with all sleep functions, especially as a savior, is there is no end.
There is no end.
You can always go deeper into whatever the functions are. Like, so for example, I could actually give you a good counter example. So for me, when I'm doing FI sleep and I'm trying to refine what emotional identity I want to be in the future, every time I do it, it gets a little bit more nuanced. So like a few weeks ago, I could tell you verbatim. A few weeks ago, it was, I want to be a person that like is legitimately happy, that is caring, that is like a high performer, blah, blah.
Very and then how do you take the steps to do that?
Exactly.
How do you take the steps in the real world to do that?
Exactly. But as I kept doing that, I realized, oh, that's not exactly what I want. That was still too kind of vague. It was too kind of bullshitty, right? Especially like the high performer one. It's like, that's fake. And so what ended up happening is I got rid of that, like those terminology, and I made it more specific, and I actually tied in more sensory examples. So for example, where I'm at now is like, I'll give you one of them. I want to be a person that values deep relationships, and I'll have a sensory like archetype of like the Godfather to look at. Now, the Godfather did some fucked up shit, right? But at least in the movie, like the love people had for him and the love he seemed to have for people was intense in his inner circle, at least.
Right.
In that movie. And so that's an example of how the FI sleep will just keep getting deeper and deeper. Because I'm sure in like 3 weeks, 3 months, it's gonna change and get a little bit more nuanced, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of character building is going on in your sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Like that. Yeah. It sounds like that's where your character building is.
And so are you not doing that with TI sleep? NiTi sleep?
No, I don't feel like I'm character building in my sleep at all.
What are you building?
Just everything. It feels like you're just building everything. Like you're just, your entire world philosophy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So like the theory of suffering. I mean, is that part of your framework now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. So you're just puzzling out what is my worldview type of literally
worldview. Yeah. Pretty much puzzling out the worldview makes it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, really good. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I know for a fact I'm not doing that.
Right.
It is more like getting nuanced on the character, I guess is a good way of putting it. Yeah. So speaking of great, so this is actually a good transition point because then, so Alexa has a question of how is TI identity, and I would add how is it identity, based on what you just said.
Right. Okay. So I mean, I know I triggered you a lot. Maybe we can talk about that. I don't know if you want to, but I triggered you a lot with like the TI thing, where it's like, how do you not have FI? Do you remember that conversation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You're like, I'm gonna pray for you at the end of the conversation.
I was teasing. Yeah.
No, you were serious.
I know.
You were teasing, but you were serious.
I was also serious. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So okay. So I don't feel like I have identity. I feel like identity is fake. I feel like identity doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
I feel like there's no such thing as identity. And so TI for me isn't identity. Yeah. It's like.
Do you mind if I ask before you continue?
Right.
Why do you not believe in identity?
So that's the thing. It's not like there's no reason behind it. It's just a reaction to hearing the concept of identity. Like I am who I decide to be. I am who I want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I just am. Like I don't. Okay. I feel like I'm like. It all comes down to identity is just a finger pointing, and it's just trying to point back at itself. That's it.
Okay, I've heard that. Yeah. Okay, I get it. So what is TI then? Because you've called it resolving contradictions. You've mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's just the basics of it. It's like it's building up some kind of worldview as well. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, it's just your entire philosophy on how the world works and how things work and how everything comes together and fits and how contradictions are resolved and all that kind of stuff. And you learn to lean on it and trust it. That like, you don't ask anyone else about it because you can't trust them because they're all idiots, right? You can only trust your own TI to solve it because it's been reliable so far. So
Right.
yeah.
But so you don't even consider that you? Like, what do you consider that thing?
No, I
No.
don't consider that me. No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what is
Yeah.
you? We're gonna get fucking like we're gonna get into it. Who
There
are
is no
you?
me.
There
There
is
is
no
me.
you.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I
Alan
don't
Watts
exist.
me? Or
I
you
don't know
just
if I
like,
Alan Watts you. I'm just Binyamining you.
you're just it's just consciousness?
Yeah, I get like if you want me to TI it, I will like, okay, me is like this arrangement of atoms that's in front of a camera here
Yeah.
that just that will die one day and will no longer exist, and that's me. Done.
Okay. So help me understand this then. So okay, because I TE'd it, so my bad. So you are Binyamin. Okay. I'm sorry, you're not Alan Watts. All I
We
was
cut
trying
out
to
here.
say with that was I've heard this narrative in many different places, right? And I get it actually, like in the sense of at the end of the day, the egoic constructs they're constructs, right? And so I guess my question though would be, okay, if TI is not identity, and if you aren't even like real in a sense, like why were you having the DI struggles when you were younger then? Like or not necessarily when you're younger, but like why is that happening? You see what I'm asking?
The struggle is that you're all in on your worldview, you're all in on your logic, you're all in on your whatever you're seeing, right? You're all in your own perspective.
Yes.
Your own subjective nature, whatever, and you're not seeing other people for who they are.
Okay.
Right. It's like you're playing your video game, right? You're not going to go. You're shirtless Sephiroth. You're beating all these other people up, right? You're not going to go into like Mario and be like, I wonder how Mario is feeling right now.
Yeah. Fuck Mario.
You just don't do that.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what Mario's identity is. You don't do that. You're just kicking ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm confused. Like, so do you believe people have identities then?
I mean, I believe they're delusional enough to think that they might have one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe like they're building something that they can call an identity, and I can call an identity, but I just don't think like, yeah.
Okay.
I believe they're unique. They have unique properties and unique. They came from a unique background. They have a unique outlook on life. They're uniquely right and uniquely wrong in different ways. And yeah.
Yeah. And so for you, so you don't think anyone has identities, right? In a sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can go and trigger. I can trigger all your viewers if you want.
That's fine. Go for it.
So like one of the main problems I have with I don't know, is picking your identity based on your sexual orientation, for example. So like, I am gay, saying something like that, right? Saying a word like I am gay, that is me. It's like, that's my identity. It's like,
yes.
Is that what you like? That's your identity? Like that's
like at the core.
Yeah,
right.
Like that's you. I mean, I get that like you have a tendency, or that you have a desire, or that like you have actions that you're doing, but like, how is that you? It doesn't compute to me. Makes no sense. Like, why would you identify with that?
Okay, so I see what's going on. So this is me translating, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So
Please.
What TI is, it's like, it's not like you have like it's not you don't have an FI sense of you. Like there's no emotional attachment to anything in there. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I'd probably be sad if I lost my arm or something, you know?
No, but like, I mean, the arm's not you, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
like it's not my identity, the arm.
Correct. No. That's where I'm starting. You have no emotional attachment to what is you. I feel like, and this is my hypothesis, FI tends to have emotional attachments to what's them. That's my initial thing. What I'm hearing you say, and I could be 100% wrong, what I'm hearing you say is you will build up a series of like logic to resolve contradictions. And like, it's not like that logic is you necessarily, but it's like you will lean into it.
Right.
And like, I think from the outside world, it looks like that's you.
That's okay. So that right there, I can see where there is me there. I am the one making that logic. I'm the one who did that. That's where my identity is. It's the one who did the thing.
Okay, there we go. There we go. And that's why you're leaning into it, and that's where the miscommunications come in.
Right.
Yeah.
So my logic isn't me. The framework I came up with isn't me.
Right.
I'm the one who came up with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only way I can see any kind of identity there.
I think that's the answer. So really good. Let's scroll down. I don't know if we have any other questions. Oh wait. Do we have any other questions? It like skipped all the way down. What the hell? Oh, y'all be commenting. What's up, guys? All right, here we go. Nicholas. And just so you guys know, we're going to end in about 15 minutes, okay? So any other future comments, leave a comment or DM Binyamin and hopefully pray to God he's being nice that day. All right.
What?
All right. Now, how does Binyamin feel about feminine thinking, masculine feeling as a coin?
I mean, does it exist? I mean, I think it, makes sense to me. Feminine, how do I relate to feminine thinking?
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, masculine FI can be stubborn. Yeah. It could be hard to move masculine FI. Masculine FE is kind of nice to have around, just to call people out, put them back in their place. You know, some people need to be put in their place.
Yep. Very true. Is that it?
I don't know how else to answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Simple. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
By the way, hi, Nick. How's it going?
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
All right. Question for you from Gray. Shout out to Gray.
Yeah.
How is the relationship between TIFE different from FITE? The relationship. Oh, like between, I guess, the coins?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, like I can see it from the same perspective, right? It's like FE is great on its own. TI is great on its own. But like, in order for you to TI properly, you have to be an asshole. You have to just not care about the feelings and just, because TI is all about just what's true, what's right, what's wrong, right? And people don't like being told that they're wrong or they're, bad at logic, or they don't like to be told the precise, accurate truth all the time. It's like, that dress looks really good on you, There's the FE lie there, right?
And what about the FIT? Did you mention FIT? Did I zone out?
I mean, that's what we were talking about before.
Oh, yeah, so we're good.
Yeah.
Gray, you got it. Go consume. All right. So, next. I don't know if this is a question from Lissa. There isn't puzzling with SiFi, but there is with NiTi.
So is there puzzling with SiFi?
I think there is.
Really?
Yeah. But it's funny because the reason I'm saying this, like, I think FI does a puzzling in a sense. And I'm basing this on one, I've been recently diving back into the cry routines. There's been some Q&As around that. And then also I'm actually remembering Versavia. I don't know if you've seen that episode I did with her. Versavia.
I think I missed it. Hi, Versavia, though.
No problem. But granted, she has masculine TE, so that kind of throws me for a loop a little bit. But she's double activated FI, and she was talking about when she assesses her values, it seems very like, oh, I value this, and oh, I value this, and this goes above this, and like she's sorting out something. So it's like maybe puzzling. It's not like puzzling like I see that's a hard word because like I don't know what people always mean by it. I do think FI is doing something, like it's moving things around, is what I'll say.
It's stacking. I mean, you have to puzzle somehow when you're stacking, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, really good. So here's a spicy question. Okay, ready? Hey, Jasper. Binyamin, what is the weirdest thing about NE to you? Don't be scared.
I mean, I don't see the use in any, to be honest. It just feels like it doesn't have a purpose.
Oh my God.
Other than to make people laugh.
I hate you. You probably actually let me not TE agree with you. No.
I know.
God damn it.
I know it does have a use, and I do see the use, but I mean, like, just my animal doesn't see the use. It's like, for me personally, I would never any.
Really?
Yeah, it makes no sense that I would
Well,
ever
what,
need any for any
I mean,
reason.
when you're like, define your terms though. Like when you say any, what are you referring to when you say any? Because I've heard some bullshit anecdotes.
Just compare concepts on extrovertedly. Like compare, like what you're doing is you're like, okay, there's this concept, there's this concept. Let's compare them. Let's see like how they join, how they meet, how they, you know. It's like,
So there's no utility in that.
I don't think there's any utility there.
So
No.
I'm just wasting my time out.
Yeah, pretty much. There we go. Done.
God damn it. All right. I'm going to process that. I'm going to hold my tongue and I'll come back.
No, see, you talk about it.
No. Like I literally, so this goes back to the question of what's the hardest function to understand. Any is one of the harder ones for me.
Right.
If not the hardest. So it's like,
I love any, and I see the point in it. Like I do see the point in it, but like for me, I don't see the point in it. Like I see the point in having Regi in the world doing any. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You saved your ass. All right. Now, Jasper's asking, what's something I find weird about SE? SE, they make really random, like vulgar jokes sometimes.
Do they?
Why do you guys do that? Not all, obviously, not all SE, but like I've seen people on the axis like poop jokes and sex jokes and butthole jokes, and I'm like, why?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I never investigated that. I think it's a good place for you to start looking into.
I'm not.
Yeah.
It's
No.
repulsive to me. I don't understand it. That's something. So Jasper, you can put that in the books. I don't get it.
But I think that's an accurate observation because I do kind of notice that a little bit more with SE.
Yeah, it's like what? No, like I don't need to know what. Anyway, I'm not getting triggered on my own show.
TMI, right?
TMI. All right. Is there any other questions? Oh, okay. It's a kind of a comment, but I think it's an interesting.
What's up, Andrew?
Semi question. Is uniqueness a better name for the DI human need? That's an interesting one.
Yeah,
as opposed to identity. That
is an interesting one. I mean, I would tend to TE agree with you. I'm gonna have to TI on that, sleep on that a bit.
Mm-hmm. Unique. Do all DIs feel like they want to be unique? Kind of. I'd have to SI check it.
I mean, like the significance things make sense more in terms of like evolution, where it's like, okay, basically you want to survive and you want to pass on your seed, right?
Correct.
So that's the whole. All of these functions are there to serve that in some way, and so if someone is a significant tribe member, they won't get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
If they're unique, well, everyone's unique, right?
Interesting. Yeah. So it's like right. You're irreplaceable. I mean, yeah.
Right.
So I guess it's a synonym.
So it's like if you were to build a spaceship and just only take 100 humans to Mars or whatever, you'd probably take mostly DIs. Like you'd take Elon Musk or all the.
That is a survival mechanism. That's actually, I've never connected it with survival for some reason. That's right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Good. There you go, Andrew. All right. This looks like the last question. So Binyamin, what's up, Prem? Come back to the server. Binyamin, what does self-respect mean to you? For you, sorry.
So that's a hard one because just being masculine DI, you have an interesting like relationship with yourself. It's really weird even to say that you have a relationship with yourself, but you kind of do have a relationship with yourself where it's like, I'm like super critical on myself. Like I'm super critical on every little mistake I ever make. And you might not see it, but like I am. And I think that's where maybe respect comes from, where it's like, hey, I didn't make a mistake this one time. I'm now respecting myself. Or, or like, it's hard because I don't want to let myself respect myself because that means I'm no longer being hard on myself. Mm-hmm. As soon as I start respecting myself, then it's like, then I've lost the edge I have on building myself. Right. And I mean, I think that's why it's so hard when the outer world disrespects us. Because it's like they're usually disrespecting us on something just that we've already gone through, that we've already solved, or that we've already dealt with, and that's what's kind of triggering. It's like, no. If you want to disrespect me, I've got a whole list of stuff to disrespect me on. This is bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, really good. One last question. I forgot. Remember, Binyamin, I was telling you about it. This is from your friend who's here. This is your friend.
Oh, he's my friend. You're just disowning him.
Yeah. After this.
After that.
Here's Uzer's question.
All right.
Guys. Would love to hear a technical discussion on the expression single activated lead MTI being tempered with double activation on daemon FFE vis-a-vis the grant function stack and the implied relative function strength, ideally visually represented via diagrams. So you ready? You got your diagrams ready?
Uzair, man, I could just hear his cocky ass voice asking that question just to be a troll. Yeah.
Trolling.
Yeah.
Trolling. You want to
there is a question in there, right?
There's a question within. So the question within it that I pulled out was, what is it like being, so your TI at the top,
right? Your
double activated FE at the bottom,
right?
So like, what is that dynamic like? Just given just that gap you have to.
So okay, since I have double activated FE, my FE should be really strong and I should be really aware of it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like all my life issues have just been like, I have no clue what FE is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware of it. And like today it might look like my FE is really good and whatever, but like that's not natural. That's not even, I feel responsible. That's like, that's just, do that or die, basically. Like, yeah, pretty much. It's fighting tooth and nail to stay above water. So I don't know if I do have double activated FE, it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're doing great, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So guys, really appreciate it. Binyamin already did the blast, so I don't need to do it this time.
Oh yeah.
All of the relevant shit's in the description. So Binyamin, stay on for a second. We'll decompress.
Well, you do need to do some blast because some people skip to the end of the video and they don't listen to anything else.
Are you gonna do it?
So, guys, you can catch those hands. You can still catch them. You can still get your booty whooped.
Yep.
With shirtless Sephiroth.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, if you're gonna go skipping around the video, you don't really deserve another blast. Like, this is what you get. Like, look for the highlight reels. And you're done.
That's me if I was an ISTP. Binyamin captured it right there. That's exactly how I would say it. All right, guys. So Binyamin, stay on for a second. We're gonna decompress. Yep. But everyone else, really appreciate it. Oh, one thing I will announce legitimately. Game nights next week. That's all I gotta say. Everyone in the Facebook group, you know where to find us. Fill out the Google form, please, because Anissa will blow a fuse if you don't fill that out. So that's my DE blame. All right.
And this is awesome. She'll be awesome. You can not fill out the form. She'll be really nice, but fill it out. Be nice to her. Yeah.
No, she will not.
No. All right.
We've tried that.
Okay.
So guys, help me. I don't want to like DE defend you. Okay, just fill it out, and we'll see you. We're playing Among Us. Okay. All right. Everyone, really appreciate it, Binyamin. Let's talk. Let's talk about decompression. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care.